everybody, welcome back to another Sewcialites 3 video. Today we're going to work on block number 23. It's called With Love, designed by Jackie McDonald of Sweetfire Road. I'm making two blocks, the 9-inch block and the 6-inch block. I've decided to make the 6-inch block as pictured with 4 different colors, and the 9-inch block I'll have one color for the circles and one color for the checkerboard. I'm going to start right here, but we're going to lay out the whole block. Very straightforward sewing today. As you're putting this together, you can always refer to the pattern for your measurements. Remember, this is for the 3-inch, this is for the 6-inch, and this is for the 9-inch. Let's start by laying out this unit. We're going to make two of these. I'm going to have one orange and one pink. I'm going to lay out the fabric C's, and we'll do them both at the same time. They should both fit on my 18-inch design board. And then in the center, we have our D's, and then we have an A in the middle of each of these. You'll sew these squares together, and then your rectangle units on. After that, we'll do corner squares. So each one of these is going to need 4 fabric B's. So I'm just going to line them up next to each one, and then I'll have them ready. Next, I'm going to lay out the checkerboard units. You've got the white in the corners. So I've got my fabric A. And each of these is going to be the same. So you've got the white in the corners, white in the middle, white in the corners. And we'll do the same over here. And then we need our fabric E's to complete that. I have green and blue fabric E's. Let's get those laid out. You would sew a row, second row, third row, press toward the color. Then when you put the 3 rows together, everything nests. Let's go over to the sewing machine and sew our blocks. Let's start right here. We'll go ahead and sew our D, A, and D together. You'll press out toward the D, then we'll sew on our rectangles. Those are C's, and you'll press down and up towards your C. So all of the pressing is away from that center white square. Here's the first part of this block. You can see that this side is uneven. I went and measured this. Mine should measure 3.5 inches square. It does to the part that sticks out the furthest. We're going to be putting on the little corner squares. I'm going to try to make up for it that way to see if I can get the finished unit to measure the correct size. I'm going to put one of our little squares on each of the corners. What I'm going to do is start with this one here. And I'm going to lay it down like that. You see that it kind of goes past here and here because I know that this is the correct size. So I'm using the outside line as my guide. I'm going to lay that down, add a pin because I don't want that to move. That one's set. I think we can do them all at once. We can, nothing overlaps. So let's do this corner next. When I lay this one down, what I want to do is get it even with this square here. So I'm going to put that on a line right there, and then when I lay this down, I'll match it on that same line. So you can see it kind of goes across, down, and then back up because it's a little short right there, but that's okay. It's within 1/4 inch. You'll never know once it's in the block. I'm going to go ahead and do the other 2 squares, and then we're going to sew corner to corner. You can draw lines on these if you like. I'm just going to use my diagonal seam tape. I've got that all pinned. We're going to go around in a circle, corner to corner, corner to corner, corner to corner, and corner to corner. And then we can flip them and check before we trim and press. Got my regular no guide foot on. I'm going to be using the red line on the diagonal seam tape because I'm going corner to corner. Go ahead and hand crank the needle down, make sure I'm in that corner. And I'm going to go pretty slow on these because these are tiny. I don't want to rush through it. I'm not always that great at going perfectly corner to corner, so I want to make sure I take my time. So there's the first one. Let's go ahead and look at it. Oh, do you see that? I did something this weekend where I had a basting stitch. I forgot to change my stitch length. Let's go ahead and go back over it. I'm not worried about the seams I already sewed for this. It's going to be fine. Let's go ahead and flip and check this corner. It looks okay. It looks like it might be a little bit short, but most of the time, mine are a little bit short. I'm going to go around and do all the corners. I have Got everything sewn on, trimmed, flipped, and pressed. Mine should measure 3.5. Remember how I kind of went over to try and make up for the size? It's still short. See that? I'm kind of short over here. I'm short right here. I'm a little short here. And I'm short in there. And kind of over there. Not my best work. That's okay. I'm not worried about being perfect. What I'm going to do is do the other one off camera, and we can go ahead and sew one of our checkerboards. This is really straightforward. You do one row, the next row, and the next row. Press toward the dark, out, in, and then sew your rows together. Here's the checkerboard unit. I went ahead and cleaned up the little fuzzies around the edges. It's crooked and it's short. So again, not my best work, but that's okay. I need to go make one more of these and one more of these. I'll do that off camera. I'll see if my sewing improves when I don't have to reach around a tripod. Here's the two I did on camera. Here's the two I did off camera. They're almost exactly 3.5 inches square, so the answer is yes, I do better when I sew off camera, but that's okay. We're going to line these up. I'm going to put this picture in front of me and line it up exactly the same way. So I'm going to lay it down with the rectangle and the squares in the center and the rectangle. That one's going to go there. This one's going to go here. Same thing. Rectangle, squares, rectangles. You don't want to do that because then it'll look kind of funny. Just like that. And checkerboard, checkerboard. I'm going to sew those together. Sew these together, and I'll press one that way, the bottom one that way. Press it all, and we'll measure it. I'm going to sew my 9-inch off camera as well, and we'll measure that one. Let's have a look at that. When you look at this, if you're sewing the 6-inch block, you're essentially sewing 4 3-inch blocks. Sewcialites is given in 3 sizes, a 3-inch, a 6-inch, and a 9-inch. There's a reason why I don't sew the 3-inch. When the pieces get this small, I tend to struggle a bit. But overall, it's looking pretty good. I'm going to give this a good press at the iron, set it under the clappers, sew my 9-inch block, and then we'll look at both of them, do our measuring and our trimming. Let's go ahead and measure our block. I can already tell it's crooked. Here's my 6.5-inch square ruler. It's pretty crooked, especially over here. It's almost the size here, and then it kind of sort of swings up, but overall it is short. Across the top here, I'm standing over here, it's short here, this bumps out. I'm going to go ahead and cut that part right there. It'll make it go into the quilts a little easier. The rest of this, all I have to do is look at it. I can tell this is short by looking at it. I don't feel like I need to put a clip on it or anything. You can really see it's wavy. None of my blocks have been perfect. That's sort of the theme of this sew along, and I'm okay with that. It's close enough. Let's look at the bigger block. Here's the 9-inch block. I just went with 2 colors for this, the red and the pink, and then my background does have a low volume print. This should measure 9.5. Let's go ahead and grab our square ruler, lay that down. Really interesting. Almost exact this way, and then let me go ahead and fix that to the long part. Pretty close this way, but I definitely did better this direction than this direction. Not worried about it. I think the only thing I might do before I put this away is just cut off the little threads. Thank you for sewing along with me today for block 23 of Sewcialites 3. We've got our 9-inch and our 6-inch block. 2 more to go, and then we'll work on finishing our quilt top together. I'll see you next week with another quilt block. Bye everybody!